Well, hello everybody, and I hope you're all doing well as we head towards the equinox in September and the Pisces new moon. But that is not what I want to talk about. Let's discuss Mars in Cancer, what it means more generally, and also what it means for you depending on your star sign. Now, Mars goes into Cancer this Thursday, so that's the 5th of September. It'll be there for about 2 months, but importantly, after it goes into Leo, it goes retrograde, and then after Christmas, it's reversing back into Cancer. So it's something we do need to talk a little bit more about. Now, Mars in Cancer operates a little bit differently to how it does in the other signs. And that is because when it's in Cancer, it's in its detriment. Now, what on earth does that mean? Well, in astrology, we say Mars is exalted in Capricorn because the Martian energies kind of gel well with the ambitious, rather hard-headed side of Capricorn, right? But Cancer, being opposite to Capricorn, represents a sign where Mars is in its detriment. And that's also because the energies are kind of don't match. For example, Cancer is a water sign. Mars is very fiery. Fire, water, well, you know what's going to happen. It's all going to go and it's a damn squid, right? So it kind of dampens that natural, assertive, fiery Martian energy. But what else does it do to Mars? Well, Cancer is ruled by the moon. The moon is more receptive, nurturing, intuitive, and understanding. Whereas Mars is more like, hey, get up and go. Don't worry about the consequences. Dive in, think later. Speak your mind, be direct. Whereas Cancer is a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more likely to take a measured approach to things. And Mars is all in, so Mars feels kind of inhibited, restricted, and a little bit suppressed in Cancer. Mars is known as very masculine energy. Cancer is a more feminine energy. And therefore, as you can see, when Mars goes into Cancer, it doesn't operate as it naturally would. Although what there is with both is a great desire to make money. So Mars can supercharge that kind of business, financial side of Cancer. So that's positive news for those of you who've got business instincts and are hoping to generate new ideas, make some money, do some business planning and forward thinking. That's kind of good. And Mars is also a great impetus for family life, doing things with your kids, and obviously Cancer is all about the family. So there's some good things too. But what you also need to know is Mars tends to be a lot more neurotic and sensitive in Cancer. So while we have Venus also in Libra and Mars in Cancer, the key note here is diplomacy. People are going to be a lot more touchy with Mars in Cancer. It's like raw nerves. It's like skin with a rash and it's exposed to the wind. It's just people are just a little bit more triggered under Mars in Cancer. And you can use that in your day-to-day life to just understand. Just think before you speak with people. Be aware of their sensitivities and, even if they are being a little bit kind of precious, try go with it. Don't make it worse. And the other key is while Mars is like super direct, like almost like a laser beam, it sets a target, shoots. Cancer is not like that. It's about feeling things out, using a little bit of awareness, the emotional intelligence, and timing. Timing is everything with Cancer. So with Mars in Cancer, pick your moments. We think, is the vibe right? Am I getting the feel? And don't force against the grain. So the whole lesson for this period, September and October, when Mars is in Cancer, is just, feel through the gears. When something doesn't feel right, pull back, wait, let more information emerge, or just let the emotions calm down, then push forward again. Don't be too determined and don't be too set on a particular outcome. Just see the outcome or the target as something that is maybe a little bit blurry. So you could shift it around. It's not like totally in focus yet. Because what else with Mars in Cancer, the focus isn't as crystal clear. So you're not sitting there with your telephoto lens, zooming in on something and getting a totally clear picture. Don't expect that picture to be clear. Be more open to a variety of responses and kind of go with that. So this is important to remember in the new year as well. So no all guns blazing and don't be too impatient. Cancer's about patience. It's about tempering the kind of rough edges of Mars. I mean, in a way, you could almost say that Mars is the rough diamond and Cancer's the moon, the girl next door. So you've got this like combination of energies. Now, I also want to talk about what it may mean according to your star sign. So let's kick off with Aries, because Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and I know Aries love to be first because you're so impatient. So let's have a chat about it. Well, for you, Mars in Cancer is actually one of the more difficult energies. It's a time when you sometimes have to think about any angers you have, any frustrations, and how you can manage them. But you should do it in a kind of measured way and a thoughtful way. So it's not about kind of letting rip and having a meltdown or anything like that. Or it's also about making sure you know exactly how you feel before you go out into a relationship discussion or family discussion and say how you feel. Don't spill the beans, right? Just think, well, I kind of feel like this. Let's clarify it. Let's package this in a way that other people will understand it. Because when you feel better understood, you get a result. So right now it's understanding how to express your emotions in a way, not just so you feel a release, but that you get a result and that other people can respond in a way that's going to move the dial, rather than just saying, well, you know, I've got this tension, this buildup of frustration, and I'm just going to let rip. What's also important is got to be busy around the home. So maybe, you know, look, we're going into the autumn here in the UK, good time for a tidy up, a declutter in the house, getting things streamlined and organized. I know Aries love a good purge, a good garage sale. That can sometimes be a good thing for you, just to feel that you're having a clear out and streamlining your life and getting rid of stuff to help you declutter, not only mentally, but also get rid of emotional junk. And you can get outside and outdoors and work off some of that energy by either, if you're in the southern hemisphere, planting things, get your gardens ready, or if you're in the northern hemisphere, by just sort of pruning back and getting everything ready. So for Aries, you should also see this as a time where you take a bit of downtime, assess what's happened in your life, understand things that happened in the last 2 years that you feel not that happy about, how you can get some closure on them, and then start planting seeds. You know, so whether, like I say, you've got the gardening example, many people plant seeds around this time of year. Certain plants you plant in September for the new year, whatever hemisphere you're in. So it's almost about, let's go back, the gardening analogy together again is pruning back, clearing out and planting new seeds. So get rid of emotionally anything that's sort of dragging you down. It's not just about toxicity. It's about persistent thoughts or emotions that are kind of just creating a weight. You need to get rid of that weight now so that you are free to bloom and move again into a brand new cycle. Okay, let's talk about Taurus. Now, the Mars in Cancer energy is so much easier for Taurians to handle, so it should be much less of a problem for Taurus. Now, for Taurus, the whole money-making, ideas-rich, brainstorming aspect of Mars in Cancer comes to the fore. So it's great news for Taurus who are in business, who are self-employed, or who are just working on a brand new project. Now, if you're feeling kind of stale and the routines of your life are boxing you in, what you need now is a total shake-up. So rip up the calendar, do things differently, reschedule, make sure that if there's anything that's creating a blockage in your week, maybe it's a certain appointment that really annoys you or a certain obligation you've got, try to move that out the way. So key now to helping you feel momentum and helping you to really bring in the fresh ideas is getting rid of any pending paperwork, bureaucracy, anything that's nagging, and just getting it out the way. Now, honesty is very important right now. Taurus is a bit of a people pleaser. And with Venus also in Libra right now, sometimes it's important to have some logical yet based conversations with people in your life. So if someone's upsetting you and you don't really want to have an emotionally driven confrontation, but you do need to set the record straight and draw some boundaries with people, you can be very assertive with your voice right now. You don't need to lose your temper. You don't need to get heated. You don't need to be passive aggressive or do any like silent treatment. But you can use your words powerfully to affect those around you, to let them know when enough is enough, or alternatively to show them some appreciation for the times when they're kind of getting it right. So it's good news for Taurus. The idea here is keep the momentum going, be positive, and also if there's anything you need to write, some reports, some financial planning or anything like that, some schedules, you need to write emails, letters, open some doors to yourself by sending letters, go for it. Go for it. Okay, let's talk about Mars in Cancer for Gemini. Now, this is also a kind of an easier placement for Gemini. And again, this whole reaching targets, money making, creating some milestones and some goals are really important. Now, I know most of you Geminis love a challenge. You're quite goal orientated and you like to kind of have a deadline because that motivates you. So this is a good time to set deadlines and make the bar a little bit high. This is also a great time if you're kind of in any business to run a promo, do an ad campaign, do something to boost sales, because you can feel a lot of momentum and therefore go for those goals. Now, Gemini, it's also an important time to make use of any talents that you feel you just like have forgotten about or aren't using. You know, think of all those things you were really good at, you know. I mean, did you take piano lessons when you were a child? Were you particularly good at art, but you kind of let those things go? Because this is a good time for either a hobby or perhaps even creating a side hustle to do those things that you know you're innately good at, you enjoy, and you used to do, but you've put on the back burner. So think of all the talents that you have that you just don't use and how you could use them. Now, obviously, maybe you need to talk to people in your job, your organization, and say, hey, you know, I'm unfulfilled in this role. Is there anything that I can move in that uses my ability to sell, to market, or to write things, or to communicate, or with languages? Try and get yourself out of being in this round peg in a square hole kind of thing, and get yourself to a place where you feel, okay, I can really hit my straps here and make a difference, right? Because it's important to do things that improve your self-worth. And so what you should be doing in these 2 months, essentially, with Mars in Cancer, is not engaging in activities that you don't feel appreciated for, that you don't feel validation for, or that you just feel don't get you anywhere. Wrong. That is the road to, you know, despair, really. So you want to do things where you feel a sense of achievement, a sense of a result. So whatever it is, even if it's charity work, I mean, whatever it is, it could be a hobby within your job, within your relationship. Do things where you get a result. Cut back on all those things that are just a waste of time. Now, well, a waste of your morale, should I say, rather than, I mean, you may earn money out of it, but does it improve your morale? Do morale boosting things and also cut people out of your life who bring you down, who give you, you know, the evil eye or the bad vibes about yourself. It's also a good time for passion. So maybe think a little bit of romantic getaway, a little luxury. You have my permission to spoil yourself. Buy yourself a treat. You know, this is a time when you should maybe reward yourself and have something in your life that makes you feel good. Luxury food, you know, luxury, I don't know, molten brown, some sort of fragrance that's rather indulgent, anything like that. Just treat yourself a little bit. Now for Cancer. Mars is in your sign of Cancer, and therefore you have a lot of motivation right now. So this is a time for G'ing yourself up. I know Cancerians are generally very go-getting people because you're a cardinal sign. And I feel Cancerians, we often talk about your nurturing abilities, your family orientation, the fact that you're a very receptive to other people's emotions, you have great levels of understanding, but Mars in your sign is a time to express your ambition and your drive. So if you have a project, a goal, you're on a course, throw yourself full in, focus and achieve a result. Similar to Taurus, I mean, and Gemini as well. Set your targets and go for those targets. Mars is also a cue to take care of physical health. So you need to reduce inflammation. So what you don't want to be doing is eating too many processed foods, and the white foods pretty much no. So that's like your breads, your pastas, and things like that. Avoid the white foods. Think about reducing things as well from the nightshade family. So that's your tomatoes, your zucchini, your baby marrow, courgette, like we call it, the brinjals and eggplants, and the peppers. You want to tone those down. You want to be eating far more of the leafy greens, the salads, fresh food, fresh fruits. That's really important. And a lot of the orange things like your nectarines, carrots, whatnot. Butternut squash, right? Okay, because that's really important. Your health is key right now. reducing inflammation is key. You do that through diet and through loads and loads of water. Also, fresh air and exercise. This is a time where you definitely shouldn't be stagnant. Even if you maybe are not older or not in the best health, it's still a good time to be a little bit more physically active. Or getting at least some sunlight, right? But especially for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere before it gets too dark, make the most of the last bits of warmth and sunlight we have, because physicality is very important right now. It's not just about personal motivation. It's also about, being physically feeling better. Now, key in love right now is being a leader and showing the direction. Show your partner positivity. Show them that you know what you're doing, and don't be bossed around. Let them know you have confidence in yourself, pride in yourself, and that whatever's going on in your life, you are taking a proactive, positive attitude. Because sometimes even in a struggling relationship that's really difficult, if you act in a positive way about your goals, your life, and your health, it kind of subliminally sends out a good message. So sometimes working on yourself can help the relationship get better, even if you don't do anything to work on him. Let him make his own mistakes and you keep going on your course. So keep in your lane, keep your eye on the prize. Now for Leo, Mars in Cancer probably has one of the slightly more difficult manifestations because it's in an area of your chart that's more hidden, more subconscious. So for Leo, it's very important, a little bit like Aries, to understand subconscious angers, anxieties, and frustrations. Think about all the things you push to the back of your mind. I mean, it's inevitable in day-to-day life. The only way you can sometimes cope is suppressing things because you can't put it out there all the time. You have to deal with stuff, work and life and taxes and all this other stuff. And so you suppress and suppress and suppress. So this is a time to try and be honest about what you're suppressing. Sure, you may not be able to actually get through it all, deal with it and sort it out, but at least understand what you're suppressing and have some avenue in life, whether it's some vigorous exercise, your fantasy life, perhaps journal writing, or even your sex life, where you feel you can kind of address those issues and feel a little bit of a release. This can also be a time when it's more difficult to get sleep because of troubling dreams and nervous energy. So it's important, like I say, a little bit exercise important, but maybe have a lighter meal before bed as well, because then that can help you cope a little bit more. Now, you can be inclined to be a little bit passive-aggressive, Leos, with this placement. So there's a little bit of a tendency to manipulate situations through a little bit of silent treatment, going cold on people, giving people the cold shoulder. And look, it might work. I'm not going to say don't do it, but be aware that you're doing it and be aware that sometimes you might provoke a response in other people you don't like. So be very aware of projection right now. And also, Leo, big thing to note. Even if you're being totally diplomatic and people-pleasing, if you're hostile inside, people are going to pick it up and they're going to react to that. So be careful what you put out there. In fact, a little bit of meditation, mindfulness, and even some positive mantras are important right now. Now, I'm not one of those astrologers who kind of over-egg the whole New Agey thing on the affirmations, but I think it is important for you guys to be mindful of addressing your anger and not putting it out into the universe, because it can boomerang back in a way that's not always helpful. Now, on a positive way, if you're working on anything top secret or private, or you've got a little side hustle that you've not yet told anyone about, yes, that's a good idea. Keep it quiet. In fact, if you've got a big new ambition, a job promotion coming, maybe just keep it to yourself. Sometimes now a little bit of discretion is key. Try not to broadcast things out there. Be private. Know what to hold back. Know what to keep to yourself, because this is sometimes the key to success in relationships, business, and otherwise. Let's talk about Virgo when Mars is in Cancer. Well, like Taurus, this is also an easier placement for Virgo, as you're naturally able to deal with the energies. So for Virgo, now you've got the new moon coming in your sign in September. You've got Venus in Libra as well. So, and Mercury is in Virgo as well. So all in all, this is an outgoing time. So Virgos can be shy sometimes. You a little bit too modest and you don't always go for it. But my message for Virgos are go for it. Go for your ambitions, be really hopeful and dare to dream. This is a time to take all those kind of latent hopes, dreams, aspirations off the shelf and think about how you can make them happen. You are fully entitled to feel pushed aside or overlooked. And if you do, it's time to say, hey, guys, I count. My work matters. I am important. I do a damn good job and I want to be recognized and I'm going for that top position. So this should be an assertive time. It also should be a very busy time if you're networking, to make those networks count. What you put in, you want to get out. So you want to milk those networks, particularly to help you with business. However, networking is really important for dating right now. If you're trying to find a partner, you want to be business networking, going to events, joining new groups and organizations and making new male and female friends to increase your potential to meet someone. So the key for Virgos, right, is be noticed, be seen, put yourself up there in lights and don't be afraid to publicize your achievements, to brag a little bit and to be bold and confident. In terms of relationships, have fun. It's important for you and your partner to create a release valve in your relationship where you're out there feeling that life isn't passing you by. Because what you don't want now is that feeling of missing out. So if you and your partner feel bogged down with, work, the whole political rubbish going on, detach from it all, do something that makes you feel young, alive. Go and hang out with some friends that feed positivity back into your relationship and just get rid of those friends that are bringing you down, who you don't really gel with anymore. You don't want to waste time on people you don't even get on with. Okay, let's talk about Libra. Well, for Libra, Mars in Cancer is a great time for career, for publicity, for promotions, and for pushing that step further. So it's a very motivational time for you. However, it's also a time when you are particularly headstrong and uncompromising, and that can sometimes rub people up the wrong way. So you have to be your diplomatic self, and I know Venus in Libra should help you be diplomatic, although there's a kind of impatient side to Venus in Libra as well. But during this phase, you can be incredibly persuasive. Don't forget, you are like a master debater, and you are key at persuading and selling things to people. So whether it's your partner that you want to sell an idea to, or the office or your boss, go for it. Make a proposal. Stand up and be counted. Stand up and say, I'm the one who sees the way forward. I want to take leadership. I'm going to own this and I'm going to make it happen. It's also key now taking responsibility for your life. You are important. You deserve success. You deserve love and you deserve affection. If you're not getting those things, ask yourself, why not? And why aren't people in your life stepping up to the plate? You don't need to tolerate time wasters right now, whether it's even your partner. He's also got to stand up, take responsibility and pull his weight. And remember, team effort means that, people contribute and they show commitment to goals. So you want to let your partner know that he needs to show commitment to goals, or basically he's going to kind of get left behind. In relationships right now, it's kind of a time when you need to focus on yourself and feel that you're getting in what you getting out what you put in. And therefore, sometimes in relationships, despite the fact that Venus is in Libra, it can be time to pull back a bit. If you don't feel, appreciated or getting what you deserve, your partner's not really reacting or responding in a way that's meaningful or enthusiastic. Sometimes it's a good thing to just refocus energy on your purpose, your goals. And even if you felt adrift, right now is the time to establish a new route forward. Set agenda for yourself, plan some things. Doesn't have to be anything specific, just plan something, get motivated, make it happen, and feel a sense of pride in yourself in that achievement. So for Libra, it's all about, again, motivation, being, showing leadership in your life, establishing good boundaries in relationships so that you don't feel taken advantage of, self-care, and building momentum. And again, be seen. This is not a time when you should hold back. It's a time when you should definitely present yourself with flair, a little bit of passion, and let everyone benefit from your leadership and your powers to inspire. Okay, let's talk about Scorpio when it comes to Mars in Cancer. Now, this is generally quite a positive one for Scorpio. So you're entering a phase where you feel that things are just going your way, and it can even be a lucky placement for many Scorpio. It can also be a time when you feel less bogged down by those little things. Now, we know Scorpios can be a little bit obsessive. Sometimes small things kind of get lodged in your head and they get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you make too much of them, and therefore it's the mountains out of molehills thing. But this is a good time to just smash those mountains that were made of molehills. This is an excellent opportunity for opening up energy and for feeling more empowered and more happy by simply smashing out of the way things that you've built up in your head that really aren't that important. Focus on what is important and definitely focus on the positives. This is certainly a time to build on your strengths, to recap what you've achieved and to take that forward, but not to get too waylaid by the problems, the negatives, the issues, other people's opinions, or by other people in general. This is a time to totally be yourself, hold your head high, just live your best life. And I know that's a stupid cliche, really, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But live your best life, what I mean is be yourself, show your true personality, don't let other people rain on your parade, capitalize on your strengths and the recent wins you've had, and don't forget to keep reminding yourself of the positive. Be your own cheerleader. This can bring you enormous strength. So many times people look to other people to give them a compliment. They like to put, pictures of themselves on Facebook, and then they get all these fake compliments saying, you look gorgeous. Wow, you look so young. You look lovely. That's the best outfit ever. And these comments are fake. People are just saying it because they feel they expected to say something or because people are insincere. And none of us should be victims of that kind of flattery. And I think for Scorpio particularly, you so strong against that. And this is a time when you say, damn it, I don't care what anyone else thinks. It matters what I think, and I think I'm great. I think I'm doing well. I think I make good decisions. I think I'm a good person. I think my life has value. I don't need these false compliments. I don't need false friends. And gee, what a position of towering strength that puts you in when you take that attitude. So go for it, Scorpio. You're great. Believe in yourself. Now, what about Sagittarius? Now, sorry to say Sagittarius, but Mars in Cancer, a little bit like Leo, is a tricky one for you because it falls in your solar 8th house. So again, there's a little bit of that theme of anger and hostility brimming below the surface and the fact that you've been biting your tongue and there's some issues which you'd like to be more vocal about. It can also be a time when that Sagittarius tendency to put your foot in it comes to the fore. You struggle with diplomacy in general. You like to speak your mind, and everyone loves honesty, and you like to be honest and clear and frank. And during this time, sometimes that's a little bit too much for other people. So that might have to be tempered slightly. So do remember to read the room. This is not a time to kind of go into situations thinking that you can kind of swing your bet around and other people are just going to like it. Beware that sometimes people out there are going to react in a way that might surprise you. So think before you speak. But another key for Sagittarius is be aware of the hidden motivations of other people. Not everyone is what they seem at the moment. People who come on strong right now, be very wary of them. What do they really want? Are they sincere? What's their agenda? It's very important right now to be aware of the snake in the grass. Also right now, it's important to know when to speak and when to be quiet. Be a bit of a poker player. Don't put all your cards on the table. Know to keep certain of your actions in reserve. Not everyone needs to know everything. This is the whole need to know basis, right? So it's quite okay right now to be a little bit secretive. Now, what you need in your love life is a little bit of passion right now. So if you and your partner can get, a weekend away sometime, send the kids away and create some space for romance, a little bit of passion, refire up that sex life, that can be really good as well because it's a very energetic time for you, but it can be a bit frustrating. And a great way to release the frustration is through, sex, intimacy. Not really cozy romance. It has to be something that gets the adrenaline going. So don't forget to do activities that are a bit daring, a bit adventurous, because that really lights your fire right now. If you feel that life's a bit boring, your sex life's not going to really kick off. So get that adrenaline flowing, do adrenaline-rich activities with your partner, and, anything could happen. Okay, for Capricorn, well, Mars in Cancer, very important placement because Cancer represents your house of long-term relationships and marriage and also business partnerships. So let's talk about the business side first. It's a great time to find a partner who complements your skills because that can take you to the next level. Sometimes you may be stuck because you need input from another person. This is also a good time to get wise and clear advice. So getting advice from a lawyer, an accountant, a business advisor, tax advisor, very important, right? Don't be an island. You need other people right now. Capricorns don't always like teamwork, but right now what you need sometimes is to be in a team because that can teach you valuable lessons. It can motivate you. And sometimes by even arguing or debating with other people, it stimulates ideas and you can maybe get a whole new impetus for success or springboard. In terms of relationships, sometimes there's a bit of contention right now. There can be some arguments. Maybe one or both of you are feeling a little bit tense, have something to get off their chest. So debate and being the kind of thick-skinned is important in relationships right now. Don't shy away from the difficult discussions. Bring things to the fore. Have an honest and frank discussion. But it's not necessarily a time for like this deep and meaningful, long, drawn-out, melodramatic conversations. You don't want that. Whatever's going on in your relationship, whether you are happy with it or not happy, or maybe you just feel it can get a little bit better, you need to have a vibrant discussion. But do it in an afternoon when you both kind of sober, for one, and you've got maybe some other things to do so it doesn't go on too long. Don't do it on a Friday night after a bottle of wine because it'll just go on and on and on and on and it may get morose. So you choose a afternoon, you have a discussion and you talk about some things frankly, and then you both go off and maybe play golf or have a walk the dog so you can blow off steam. So it's important in relationships for honesty, to be straightforward and also to clarify goals. Couples who work as a team and have strong sense of what they want in the relationship and where the relationship is going do well. If you feel you're in a relationship, it's just going nowhere, it's drifting or it's fading, that has to be put on some sort of track so that there's something solid you're both working on. Couples with goals succeed, and that's what you need is goals. Let's talk about Aquarius. Mars in Cancer. Okay, this is kind of a workaholic-y placement, and you've got to be sure that all work and no play doesn't make Jack a dull boy. So it's essential right now that there is time in your life to decompress, let it go. One of the problems for Aquarius right now is you can get in a certain frame of mind or a mood and you get attached to an idea and you just can't let it go. And then it ends up detracting from your relationships because you're thinking of something else all the time. So you have to draw a strong line between your work and your clients and the rest of your life. And also, it's a very good time not to get too involved with clients, right? You don't want clients encroaching on your spare time. You don't want clients kind of being over-demanding. For Aquarius man, this is also a time when to remember actions speak louder than words. So whatever you do in relationships, make it count in a practical and meaningful way. This is a time when words can kind of be stumbling blocks. So it's important to just be thoughtful and a little bit pragmatic. And it's also important to keep emotion out of things and remain fairly rational. This is a kind of doing time. And by doing, it means identifying, the problems, tackling them, doing it in a diplomatic way, but also doing it in a substantial way, no paying lip service. Rather not do anything than do something that's just kind of a waste of time or something that raises hope. It's also an important time for self-honesty. So it's good to understand where you're at, what you really think about things, and to be honest with yourself. Sometimes it's one of the hardest things to do is to be honest with ourselves. But once we get to that starting point, even if it's painful, we quickly move forward and suddenly everything falls into place and it's easy to understand what we have to do. So let's talk about Pisces. So luckily, and I mean luckily because Mars in Cancer is rather a lucky placement for Pisces. It represents a rather creative trine, and it's a time when you may not necessarily feel the impetus to do anything particularly earth-shattering, and that's okay because it's actually all right to nurture yourself, to have fun, and just to gently enjoy activities that are life-enhancing. Now, if you're looking for love, this is an ideal time to go to an event, join a dating app, be more socially active, or just get out there doing some new sports or hobbies where you're likely to meet people. It's always important to remember, don't be an island. Jump in, get involved, and allow other people to motivate you. And also give other people the benefit of your wisdom, your creativity, and your compassion. Sometimes just doing something for others, where, lending a helping hand on a project, bit of charity work, actually can help renew your perspective on life and is a great way to meet people. This is a pretty good time all in love. And the idea is don't create expectations, be spontaneous, go with the flow, and make sure that you're always keeping the window open. So many times people shut out opportunity, whether it's opportunity for love, to receive love, to improve affection in the relationship, just because we stop believing it. We allow ourselves to become jaded. What you need to tap into right now is your youthful energy. So maybe doing things like listening to music from your youth, or looking back at some old memorabilia, or doing a hobby you enjoyed in your youth. Do something that helps bring out that youthful spirit. And you'll know it's happening because, I know you hear a tune on the radio and it immediately transports you back. You get in a different frame of mind and you can just slightly recapture that optimism of youth. And sometimes we need to find ways of recapturing that unjaded, kind of uncynical love of life and optimism about life we have in life. Just bringing that back a little bit, because once we can sprinkle that over ourselves, suddenly we start seeing possibilities that we haven't considered for a long time, just because we are a little bit worn down and, life does take its toll. And every now and again, we need to capture that youthful spirit. So the key for Pisces right now is, whether it's in love, whether you are in a good relationship looking for love, find ways, either by yourself or with your partner, to recapture a youthful, fun spirit. Do something that makes you laugh. Find ways to just let your hair down, be a little bit frivolous, be a little bit crazy, be a little bit adventurous, and have fun. That's your mission, and it's really important for all aspects of your life and freeing up your energy. So I hope you've really enjoyed hearing all about Mars in Cancer. One important thing I must tell you is the dates, because it is from the 5th, which is Thursday, the 5th of September. It's in Cancer, and it will be all the way until November the 5th, actually. So September the 5th to November the 5th. And then when you go into January next year, it's in Cancer again, and will be for most of January. So do recap this during January, because I think a lot of the information will be important for them too. Take care, and I would love it if you gave a thumbs up, left a comment, or shared with any friends who love astrology and who are wondering about the potentials for the coming 2 months, because Mars in Cancer, it's around for 2 months. So come on, let's take advantage and make the most of it.